Let's talk then to Steve Dale, who runs the Wallsend Boys Club in Newcastle. So there's a good example of, I gather, quite a long-standing youth club.
Yes, Jeremy. Good afternoon. The club's been around since 1938, so very well established on Tyneside.
Tell us about the history. Tell us why it started.
The origins come from the industry on Tyneside, with particular emphasis with shipbuilding. So in an effort, I think, to give the apprentices something positive to do with their leisure time, the trustees of the Swan Hunter Shipbuilding Company decided to create Wallsend Boys Club. It probably can trace its origins back to 1903, when there was a cafe on Wallsend High Street that the apprentices used. But very officially, we know that there was a definite building in 1938 because some of our older members, the founder members, are still with us. The octogenarians still come into the club, which is fantastic.
Well, that is brilliant. Now, are you then paid for by the council, or are you volunteers, or what?
Effectively, it's supported by the council, and it's been more emphatically supported, it's fair to say, in recent years. But up until recent years, it was a sort of £14,000 grant per annum. And that was ostensibly to pay for a club leader to manage the club 7 days a week, which in today's day and age is obviously not exactly going to pay for the utilities. We're basically run through the benevolence and the vocational spirit of 70 selfless volunteers. So they probably put on average about 10 hours a week in.
Terrific, wonderful.
That really keeps the club going from week to week.
And do they have to be criminal records checked? Do we go through all that?
Yes, everybody does in this country now if you're going to work with children.
Is that an inconvenience to them and to you?
Well, I think what it is a correct piece of legislation. It could probably be easier if you only needed one of these checks. A lot of these people are kind enough to volunteer for several organisations, and they need a check with each one of them, which is a nonsense, frankly.
And when they come, people from the local neighbourhoods, what do they bring?
Well, what they bring is a selfless spirit. They want to see the young people have got somewhere positive to channel all of that energy, because the reality is when the school finishes, the energy doesn't dissipate. The youngsters really, it's a fact of life across all of the generations. The youngsters have got to channel that in some shape or form, and if they don't have places to go, then we increase the chance that they're going to channel it into a negative fashion, which nobody wants. So
it's a good way of getting kids together in a safe place and inspiring them, I guess.
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, at the end of the day, the youth clubs, I think, have served a great purpose over the generations. The shame is that there's a lot fewer of them now than there were in the past. I was a member of 3 during the 60s and 70s when I was younger, and you chose them for, different occasions that were on during different times of the week. Did it keep you on the straight and narrow? Well, I'd like to think that without them I'd have been more tempted to deviate, that's for sure. But no, I think we can see the benefit more now. It's always great to have that hindsight to look back and realise just how positive these things were in your life. You probably don't appreciate them as much at the time. I know you've had some very, latterly high-profile boys coming through. Alan Shearer, Peter Beardsley, Robbie Elliott. But I guess you're also very proud of kids whose names we wouldn't have heard of, who maybe would have been in jail if they hadn't been through your youth club. Yeah, very definitely. I think the president of the club, Peter Kirkley, sums it up brilliantly. He's immensely proud of the fantastic role models that we've got with the likes of Alan Shearer and Peter Beardsley, Michael Carrick and the other guys. There's 61 of them gone on to play professional football. But Peter says he gets as much pride, if not more, from lads who still come up to him and say if they didn't have the club to have gone to when they were younger, they definitely would have ended up in trouble with the police. Thanks very much indeed. Steve Dale of the Wallsend Boys Club speaking to us from Newcastle.